Okay, so if you have a block or a couple books, just put them nearby. And what we're going to do is begin on our backs and actually just begin to close.
Hey Kate, the audio went out. I can see you, but I can't hear you anymore.
Yep, confirming the audio went out. Yep, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, they hear.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we're gonna do it without the microphone. I'll figure that out next time. So see if you can find a place comfortable on your back. Maybe pull your knees up or just lie on your back with your eyes closed. And see if you can take a minute to arrive here. Maybe that requires going through your day and everything that happened today and just kind of reviewing it. It's okay. Give your mind a minute to settle and to feel the new pace of this evening as we kind of slow down. And then with your eyes closed, take a moment to scan your five senses, just noting what you see behind the eyelids. What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear? And then how does the air or the clothes feel on the skin? And then bring your awareness to your breath, your in breath and your out breath. And when it feels right to you, relax your tongue in the roof of your mouth so that your lips are gently parted and your tongue is resting on your hard palate. And see if you can breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Begin to deepen the breath. With every exhale, see if you can squeeze a little bit more air out of the lungs. Notice the thoughts that pop up. It's totally normal and human. And then just very gently come back to your inhale and your exhale. You can practice constricting the back of the throat ever so slightly, making the sound of the ocean waves. This is our Ujjayi breath. It sounds like this. And sometimes the Ujjayi breathing helps us bring our awareness to our breath. You can also just take some noisy breaths where you inhale all the way and then exhale, sigh and let it out. But sometimes the louder the breath is, the harder it is to ignore it. So see what you can do to make your breath heard. Play with this for 5 more breaths. If the mind wanders, it's okay, just bring it back to the inhale and the exhale. Now is a good time to think of a mantra or a goal for this practice. What would you like to get out of your practice today? Maybe some opening, some deepening, some relaxation. Maybe your mantra is, I am here. It can be anything you're called to say. I made it through the day, anything. Try to keep it positive if you can. And then when you have your mantra, begin to sink into your body. So we've got the awareness of the breath now. Maybe uncurl yourself so that you're laying out flat on your back with your arms out and your feet are wide on the mat. Or maybe you bring your hands to your belly, whatever feels better. And let's scan the body from head to toe, beginning with the crown of the head and the ears and the jaw, your forehead. Do you feel any tension? And if you feel any areas of tension, you can bring your hands to your jaw, give it a little massage. You can open your mouth, stick out your tongue. You can also scrunch it in tight and then relax. And then gently coming down to the neck, maybe wiggle your head a little bit, very small movements. Any areas of tension in the neck, just noticing them. Awareness is our only goal right now. Shoulders. Sometimes just noticing the tension in the shoulders allows them to relax a little bit more, allow them to be heavy on the ground. Elbows, wrists, hands. And then moving to the solar plexus, the belly. What do you notice here? Does it feel like there's anything you can let go of here in the belly before we even start to move? Sometimes it also helps to mentally send a little ball of white light, a little sphere of white light down to the center of the belly. This healing light can help your body sink into the ground. Hips, how do your hips feel? Traveling down your thighs to your knees, how do your knees feel? You can bring your hands to your knees and give them some circles if you'd like. And then your calves, your shins. And finally, your ankles and your feet, just noticing them. Oh, hello, feet. You've been there all day, huh? When you're done scanning the body, bring your awareness back to your inhale and your exhale. And we'll take one big inhale together. One big exhale together. When you're ready, choose one side to slowly come up to seated. If you're not already seated, if you're lying on your back. And you can sit on something like your block or your book, or you can double up your mat if it helps. And we're just going to begin to do some circles with the torso. They can be really tiny, or they can be a little bit bigger. But see if you can begin to feel that you're bending from the hips, not the waist. And then when you're ready, reverse the circle. Maybe exhale forward, inhale back. Permission at any time to modify the movement as you need. So if you need a smaller movement, if you need a bigger one, go for it. And then see if you can wiggle a little left to right and find that place in the center where you can really sit on your sits bones. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale both arms up. Exhale like you're pushing down through water. 2 more. See if you can lengthen the exhale. Take up as much room as you possibly can with your upper body. Inhale up. Exhale, flip the palms down, push down. Awesome. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come forward to tabletop, hands and knees. I'm just going to move my mat back a tiny bit. And in tabletop, remember you can always come onto fists for gentle wrist, or you can have your hands flat on the mat. And just wiggle left and right to find your bearings here. See if you can bring your hands so they're below the shoulders. The tendency is to have the arms out a little bit, so just check and see that your hands are below your shoulders. And then maybe wiggle side to side. Take a moment to move in a way that feels kind of fun and playful. Usually when people request hip openers, they want more like groin and front of the hip, but the back of the hip can get really tight too, the SI joints. So see if you can make a little space there as you exhale. Maybe come back to your child almost. Inhale forward, take some circles. Exhale back. Inhale forward. So we're staying warm from the day, but we're also not going so fast that we bring our heart rate up. So modify that for you. If you start to feel like you're out of breath, then slow down. Reverse the direction of the circle and go the other way. This time play with inhale back, exhale forward. When you feel like you've evened it out a little bit, come back to center. We're going to exhale the arms out in front of us and then come down into child's pose. If you can, keep the wrists lifted so we're up on the fingertips. And your knees can be together or they can be apart, whatever feels better on your lower back. Inhale, long spine, exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine, exhale, fold. One more, inhale, look forward, exhale, fold. When you're ready, slither, come all the way forward onto your belly. And from here, let's just bring the elbows under the shoulders. Maybe even wiggle a little bit so that it feels like the space in the lower back on either side is opening up. And one way to do that is to actually bring the elbows forward and almost pull the upper body just a little bit using the elbows, the strength of the arms. When you're ready, bend one knee. Notice how that changes the pressure in the lower back. The gaze is down at the mat in front of you. And then switch sides and bend the other knee. Exhale all the way. On the next inhale, let's slowly bring the hands out in front of us and the head down. And let everything get heavy here in your good morning stretch. Maybe even wiggle it out a little bit. Twist the wrists, flip the ankles back and forth, let everything go, get really heavy. One more inhale and exhale. And then on the next exhale, slowly come through your tabletop and into your first down dog. Well, Tammy's done more. And just play with your down dog, walking your dog. And then when you're ready, we're slowly going to bring the right foot forward. So you can step it or jump it or however you want to get it there. And we're going to put the back knee down, the left knee down. And our goal here is to try to stretch the front of the left hip. So bring that right foot forward a little bit more so it's underneath the right knee, and then gently bring the torso up. So this gets really tight when we're sitting all day. Don't push it. You might want to heel toe the right foot out to the right for a little more stability, and just see what happens. And then bring the gaze ahead of you, and you can bring the arms out like scarecrow. Or you can keep the arms at the heart, or you can also bring the arms up overhead. For gentle lower back, keep the hands at the heart though. You can also just keep the hands on this knee. There's nothing wrong with that. Just allows you to have a little bit more stability. When you're ready, we're going to bring the hands down, lift the back knee, and then slowly turn towards the wide side of the mat. Taking our ninja pose, flip this opposite foot up. Exhale, come through center to the other side. Really take your time here and see if you can feel everything that's going on inside the groin muscle here. When you're ready, come back to the other side. Just play with this. If your block or your book is nearby, you can also use it for stability. So you have the block and the ground in front of you. You can use it at the second height or the highest height. Don't forget to breathe. Let's do 2 more switches. Exhale to the other side. Notice if there's any popcorn in the hips. Breathing back and forth. Whatever you have to do, end up on the left so that you're bending the left knee and you're straightening the right here. And you can pick up the right toes or you can leave them flat on the mat, whatever feels good on the groin and the hip. When you're ready, we're going to turn and face the back of the mat just for a moment, just so we can do that low crescent lunge with the left foot forward. So it's okay if you can't see me, just keep the left foot forward, back knee comes down on the mat, untuck the back toes, and then slowly bring the torso up. Whatever you tried with the arms on the other side, try it here. Make sure the left foot is forward enough. You can bring the arms up if you'd like. You can bring them to the heart. Keep breathing. See if you can smile or stick out the tongue or do something to relax the jaw just a little bit. When you're ready to come out of it, both hands come down to the mat. Tuck the back toe, exhale back towards the center. And here we're gonna pause in the center just for a moment. So see if you can turn so can you guys see my feet at all? So your heels are a little bit wider than your toes. So get your heels a tiny bit wider than your toes if you can. Your feet almost need to be a little wider than you think. Take a bend in the knees. And then if you have a book or a block, have it here. We're gonna exhale. Forward fold. One more breath. And then when you're ready, come back to the front of your mat. Hand over hand, coming back to the front of your mat. Right hand stays inside the right leg. And we're just gonna wiggle forward and back a little bit. See if you can make a little bit more space here in the front of the left hip. You can always come onto the fists if your wrists are getting tired. And then when you're ready from here, we're going to jump this left foot up very slowly, coming into our forward fold. So the feet are together, or they're just under the shoulders, and then exhale, forward fold. Shake your head yes and no. When you're ready, ragdoll up, slowly coming up to standing. And take a moment to ground yourself here. Just look down at the toes, spread the toes. See if you can very gently tuck the tailbone. Allow the shoulders to inhale up and then exhale down back, palms face forward. Just standing up tall can be a lot of work sometimes, especially at the end of the day. Don't force it. Just notice how you feel when you're able to get your chin back in line with the body, because we spend so much of the day with our chins forward, right? Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift, bringing the hands to the shins. You can still have a bend in the knees because we may not be that warm. And then when you're ready, exhale, right foot comes back. Bending the knee. Left foot comes back. Child's pose. Exhale all the way. 3 breaths here. Let it all out. When you're ready, inhale, slither all the way forward. Coming onto your belly. You can have the elbows under the shoulders and just wiggle. You can take the feet wide. Notice how the lower back responds, if it feels good. Bend one knee, bend the other knee. Do what you need to do here. You can also just take your good morning stretch again and bring your head down. Take a moment to see what it is that you need here. Do you need more movement or less movement? And then pay attention to your inhale and your exhale. Let's do one more inhale, exhale together. Wherever you are, exhale out of the mouth for a nice cleansing breath. When you're ready, make your way through tabletop, and just for one breath, come into your down dog. Maybe keeping a bend in the knees, maybe keeping the legs wide. And then bring the right foot forward. And we're just gonna wiggle, make a little bit of room here. Notice how the front of your left hip flexor feels. We've done a little bit more to the left than we have to the right. When you're ready, left foot jumps up to meet the right. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe grab the elbows and shake it out a little bit. If you have your block or your book, it can be right in front of you here. Or you can use the shins, inhale, flat back. Exhale, this time step back with the right. And then we're gonna heel toe this left foot over to the left. Left hand comes inside for our lizard lunge. So for lizard, you can stay lifted, you can be on the fists. You can bring the back knee down if you'd like, just to find a little bit more room. And you can allow the left knee to roll out to the left a little bit. But gentle, gentle, being careful of how the knee feels. See if you can imagine this white sphere of light, and it travels from the crown of the head down through the center of the body, and can it rest right in front of this right hip flexor. Allow the white light to do its healing work. When you're ready, left foot comes back to meet the right. Exhale, child's. If you like to take child's with your knees together, go ahead and try it with the knees apart for a moment as well. You can also use the block to just rest the sternum on. The idea with the block is that we're just bringing the floor up closer to us. Take 5 breaths in your child's pose and see if you can really allow the butt and the hamstrings to sink down into the pose. I'm sorry, that is my son's blood sugar. All right, and now from our child's pose, one more time, we're gonna slither forward. And see if you can play here with your cobra. Maybe even if your lower back feels ready, maybe even take one palm and lift. Push down on the ground and lift the right shoulder up. Come back to center, switch sides. Just gently getting ready for up dog, and then try to come into your up dog by straightening the arms, lifting the legs. When you're ready, don't forget to breathe. Exhale, come all the way down. If you tried your up dog, come into your good morning pose. Maybe even flip the palms up to relax the wrists. Wiggle the ankles back and forth to see if it loosens the hips. On the next exhale, coming through our tabletop, tuck the toes, one more down dog, exhale all the way. This time, let's play just a little bit here. Maybe you bend one knee and then the other. Maybe you take the left hand and cross it over the right and just stretch out the side body. Or put it in front of the right. Switch sides. You can also bring the knees down and just play with stretching out this way so that way it's a little easier on the shoulders. Breathing into the space underneath the shoulder blade. Just trying to make sure you can see. I'm putting one hand about 6 inches in front of the other one. Then when you're ready, finding your way back to down dog. And let's gently walk this left foot up. And just wiggle in our low lunge here without bringing the back knee down for just a moment. Big inhale, exhale. Can you feel the front of your right hip? One more inhale, exhale, and then hop this left foot up to meet the right. Exhale, forward fold. Let's do a little bit of bouncing here. See if you can exhale and let the hands come through the legs. So maybe take the feet as wide as the mat or a little bit wider. Exhale. Hands come through the legs. Doesn't matter what it looks like, just be silly. You can also wiggle side to side a little bit. Shake the head yes and no. And then we're going to play with our squats. So let's find the block if you have one, or the books, and just set them up so they're in the middle of the legs, between the ankles, and then exhale, come all the way down into your squat. It's okay if your heels are lifted, just means you're working a little harder on balance. From here, use the elbows to push the knees out. And if you're over this or your knees are hurting, just come onto your back and slowly come into your happy baby, just pulling your knees in very gently. Wherever you are, pay attention to your gaze. See if you bring your eyes down to the ground ahead of you, it will relax your neck. You can elongate your neck if you're not trying to look up. So be gentle on the neck here. If you're in your squat, instead of lying on the ground, you can inhale, lift one arm, look up. Exhale, come back to center. Switch sides, inhale, lift one arm. Exhale, come back to center. And then we're all gonna meet on our backs, slowly removing the block and then gently coming down to the mat. From here, let's start with a twist. Allow the knees to fall one direction. You can use the block for this too, if you'd like. So allow the knees to go one way, and then the arms come out like a T, and you bring the gaze to the opposite hand. So if my knees are to the right, I bring my gaze to the left hand. See if you can actually really relax the shoulders. And then maybe inhale, exhale, stick out the tongue. And then a little trick is that the extraocular muscles that surround the eyes are connected all the way down to the hips. So if you can, take your gaze all the way to the left. And just notice if it changes anything in the body. Breathe 3 full breaths. And then maybe if you're looking at a clock, imagine there's a 12 o'clock, maybe bring your gaze up to 12 o'clock. And then bring your gaze over to 3 o'clock. So all the way to the right. So don't move your head, but try to play with where your eyeballs go. And then gently down to 6 o'clock. And then back over to 9 o'clock. And then back to center. And then when you're ready, you're gonna slowly unwind, pulling the knees in. And then switching to the other side, allow the knees to go to the other side. Arms out like a T. Gaze comes to the right, and we're going to do the same with the eyes. So bring the eyes all the way to the right, which is 3 o'clock, and then 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then allow them to finally rest in the center. Notice if you've been holding your breath, let it out. Inhale all the way, exhale all the way. From here, we're gonna slowly come back to the center. And we're gonna do a little bit more hip work, just very carefully bringing this right shin across the left thigh for our figure four. And sometimes this is enough. Palms face up, shoulders are relaxed on the ground, head is relaxed. But if you need a little bit more in the piriformis, the back of the right hip, flex the right foot, and then exhale and bring the whole thing towards you. You can grab the left hamstring or the front of the left shin. Woo! You guys feel it? Inhale, exhale all the way. Really flex the right foot, and you'll notice it'll change what you feel in the back of the right hip. Wherever you are, see if you can find a comfortable stretch for the next 3 breaths. Ready, allow this right leg to cross over the left and allow everything to fall towards the left. So you're kind of twisted up like a pretzel. If you have the block or the books, you can put them underneath the knees or even a rolled up towel. And then one more time, bring the hands out like a T. The twisting is really good for the kidneys and the liver and the intestines. You can even bring a hand to the belly and just give it a little bit more warmth. Some circles going from the right side over to the left side. When you're ready, unwind. And let's gently on the next exhale, bring this left shin across the right thigh. Stay here for a moment. Notice what you feel. Notice what comes up. If you feel any tightness in the back of the head, sometimes it can bring up specific emotions, grief or anger, whatever it is, be open to it. Try to breathe through it instead of pushing it back down. And then when you're ready, if you tried it on the other side, bring this right leg towards you, either grab the hamstring or the front of the shin. Really flex the left foot so that you feel it in the back of the left hip. You can also take a hand and just gently push the left knee away from you. Keep breathing. If your mind has wandered, that's okay. That's what it's supposed to do. Just gently come back to that in breath and that exhale, that out breath. Finding a comfortable stretch here. Maybe you come out of it ever so slightly. 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, cross this left leg over the right and allow both knees to fall towards the right. 1 more twist. Bring the arms out like a T if you'd like. Gaze is to the left, but let the shoulders and the neck be really heavy here. Remember your mantra from the beginning of class. If you're getting distracted, think of so as you inhale, ha as you exhale. So, ha. When you're ready, slowly unwind. And let's come into our bridge pose by bringing our feet to the mat. If you have the block, it can go between the knees just to keep you safe. If you don't have the block, you can imagine you have a block between your knees and you want them to be 3 to 4 inches apart, but there is like a magnet pulling them together. And then we're gonna exhale and gently lift the hips. Maybe that's it. Or you interlock the hands under the spine and then you kind of wiggle onto the shoulders. Keep breathing. When you're ready, slowly round down. Wiggle. You can bring the knees into the chest for a minute. We're gonna do 2 more, so feel free to stay with the knees pulled in or come into Savasana, whatever you'd like. Or you can do the bridges with us. On the next inhale, and then exhale, lift the hips. Maybe wiggle the shoulders under. See if you can stay here for 5 breaths. The gaze is at the belly, if you can see it rise and fall. Your way back to center. We're just gonna do 1 more bridge, if your body is allowing it. If not, please come into happy baby. When you're ready on the next inhale, lift the hips. Slowly finding your way back to center. And then from here, if you'd like to let the knees fall out, there's 1 more thing we're gonna do before Shavasana. You can either allow the knees to fall out and bring the hands to the belly, or if you feel like you still need some more side body stretch, straighten the right leg. And then what we're gonna do is bring the left leg on top of the right, very gently. The right arm up, and the left hand comes on top of the right. So we're stretching out the left side body. You can kind of twist the ankles a little bit. And you can move your head over to the right side of the mat. So your gaze is straight up at the ceiling, but the left hand is on top of the right, and you've moved your head over to the right. And then you can stack the feet or cross the left foot over the right. It might take a moment here to relax, because you twist it up a bit. One more inhale and exhale, and then when you're ready, slowly make your way back to center. Allow the feet to be wide, maybe even wiggle the hips left and right. And then left foot comes towards the left side of the mat. Right ankle crosses over left ankle. And then bring the head towards the left side of the mat. Left arm up, right hand goes on top of the left, or right hand goes on top of the left hand. And so you're just you've curved your body a little bit to the left. So the left hand is under the right and the left foot is under the right foot. Take a moment here and see if you can allow the right hip and the right side body to stretch out. It might feel different after 3 or 4 breaths. Allow gravity to take over just a little bit so that you're feeling like you can sink down into the mat. And then when you're ready, make your way back to center. And we're just gonna come into our Savasana. If you have started to cool down a little bit and you wanna grab a sweater or sweatshirt or a blanket, go for it now. And you can take your Shavasana with the bottoms of your feet together and your knees out and your hands in your belly. If it feels really good, or you can start that way if you want to, or just take your feet as wide as your mat, even a little wider, as wide as they are comfortable, and then palms face up. Take a moment and kind of tuck your shoulders underneath you so that your chest feels a little bit open. And same thing with your hips, maybe squeeze the butt and then relax and allow the hips to rest open on the mat. Take a noisy exhale if you can, take a sigh. Begin to settle in here. This is your corpse pose. Your practice for dying is what my teacher's teacher used to say. This is your opportunity to find a peaceful resting point. So see if you can, with your eyes closed, imagine that you're floating on the top of the water like a reed. And the ripples or the little waves go right underneath you. They don't disturb you at all. Allow all parts of your body to relax. Allow everything to be heavy. Feel supported, completely supported by the mat and the ground below you. What else are you holding on to that you could possibly release here? Let's scan the body one more time, starting at the crown of the head, the forehead, the nose, scrunch up the face, and then let it go. The ears, the shoulders, scrunch them up, and then let it go. The front of the neck, the throat, scrunch, and then let it go. Let's do the right arm first. Squeeze in the hand like a fist, scrunch up the right upper arm, and then let it go. The left side, like a fist, tense the whole arm if you can, and then let it go. Feel both arms completely relax, very heavy. Belly, can you squeeze the abdominal muscles and then let them go? Butt, hips, squeeze, let it go. Thighs, hamstrings, squeeze, squeeze your quads, let them go. Calves, shins, flex your feet, squeeze, and then let it go. Toes of both feet at the same time, curl them in, and then let them go. And now come back to that imagery of the reed floating on the surface of the water. Allow your breath to return to whatever natural state it wants to be. When you're ready, slowly bring awareness back to the fingers and the toes. And as you slowly come back to the present moment here in your home, before you jump back into the things that are being asked of you tonight, I'm just going to read a little passage that I was reading last night from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And it's sort of a rough translation because Sanskrit is sometimes tricky to translate to English. If you'd like, you can stay lying down. You can curl to one side with your eyes closed while I read. Or if you prefer, you can slowly bring yourself up to seated. Maybe gently begin to open the eyes, whatever works for you. So the point of the book, the Yoga Sutras, is to remind us that the aim of yoga is to cultivate self-awareness so that we can make the appropriate changes in our lives to reduce suffering and increase inner peace. In order to experience inner peace, Patanjali, the author of the book, suggests that we commit to practice and practice detachment. Both are important, the practice of the yoga and the practice of detachment. And in this 15th sutra, which is the one I was reading last night, Patanjali talks about how if you have to choose one or the other, practicing the asanas or the poses of yoga, or doing your meditation every day, or actually practicing detachment during your day, then choose the latter. It's more important to practice detachment from the outcome. The outcome of our service, the outcome of our work, the outcome of our sufferings. It's more important that we learn how to detach from the outcome. And he explains why. And I'll send you all the reading so you can read it because it's a little bit long. So the main points, though, are that we remind ourselves on a daily basis to detach in certain situations. So it begins with external objects. If we see ourselves desiring to an extent that we don't have them, then we become agitated. So, this can be manifested in watching too much television, eating too much chocolate, needing a certain person all the time. And then gradually this effort of detachment gets easier and easier. And then he also talks in this chapter about how the happiest people are the people who are devoted to service of other people, because that's actually a wonderful distraction for them of their own suffering. And so the point of the sutra is if you have an opportunity to serve someone else, it's actually a selfish thing because you're going to make yourself happy in the meantime. Okay, I'm just going to end the final practice with our chant for peace, that all beings everywhere, especially the three of you here, may be free from suffering. The words are Soka, Savasana, Sukino, Bhavantu. Feel free to listen or join in. I'll say it 3 times. Loka Savasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Savasta Sukino Bhavantu. Loka Savasana Sukino Bhavantu. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. And thank you for caring for yourself. Namaste. We will be on the Zoom again next week, next Wednesday at the same time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Everybody.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much, Kate.
Yay, Kelly. I'm gonna end the recording if I can.